In the hallowed halls of the White House, a press conference was underway. Elon Musk, the enigmatic CEO of Tesla and SpaceX, stood beside President Donald Trump. The room buzzed with anticipation as cameras flashed, capturing every moment. But amidst the political discourse, a small figure drew unexpected attention. Musk's 4-year-old son, XAAC, known simply as X. Perched on his father's shoulders, X fidgeted, his curiosity piqued by the grandeur of the Oval Office. As Musk discussed governmental efficiency, X's attention shifted to President Trump. With innocent audacity, he leaned toward the president and declared, "You're not the president. You need to leave." A hush fell over the room. Trump's expression tightened, but he chose to ignore the child's remark. Musk, attempting to maintain composure, gently hushed his son, but the damage was done. The incident quickly became a media sensation, sparking debates about parenting, privilege, and respect. Grimes, X's mother and Musk's former partner, was inundated with messages about the event. Unaware of her son's public appearance, she expressed her disapproval, emphasizing the importance of privacy and proper upbringing. The episode ignited discussions on the challenges of raising children in the limelight and the consequences of neglecting foundational values. As the world dissected the incident, Musk faced criticism for his parenting choices. The event served as a stark reminder that even amidst power and success, the responsibility of nurturing respectful and well-mannered individuals remains paramount. The fallout from X's words spread like wildfire. News outlets dissected every frame of the moment, while social media became a battleground of opinions. Some found humor in the child's unfiltered honesty, while others saw it as a glaring example of poor parenting. Elon Musk, typically unfazed by controversy, initially dismissed the incident as the harmless antics of a young child. "He's just a kid," he tweeted. "Kids say things, no big deal." But the world wasn't as quick to move on. The debate took a deeper turn. Was this a reflection of the modern elite, raising children without boundaries? At home, Musk faced an uncomfortable conversation with Grimes. "Elon," she said over the phone, her voice edged with frustration, "this isn't just about what he said. It's about how he's being raised. He's learning that he can say anything, do anything, and there are no consequences." Musk exhaled, rubbing his temples. "He's 4, Grimes. He doesn't understand politics or respect yet." "But that's the point," she pressed. "It starts now. We teach him now." Her words lingered. Musk had always prided himself on intelligence, on the ability to solve complex problems, but parenting wasn't an equation or a physics problem. It was something else entirely. Unpredictable, emotional, deeply human. That night, as he tucked X into bed, he found himself hesitating. "You know, buddy," Musk said softly, "sometimes we have to think before we speak. Even if we don't like someone, being respectful matters." X blinked up at him, confusion clouding his young face. "But you say whatever you want on Twitter." Musk's breath caught. The child had only spoken the truth. The realization unsettled him. In the digital age, where boldness was rewarded and controversy fueled engagement, was he, without even meaning to, teaching his son that there were no limits? Outside, the world continued to argue over the incident, but inside, a father sat in silence, wrestling with something deeper than the noise of public opinion. The next morning, the world hadn't moved on. News anchors continued debating whether X's outburst was a sign of modern parenting gone wrong. Opinion pieces flooded the internet, some defending Musk's approach, others condemning it as reckless. At SpaceX headquarters, Musk buried himself in work, trying to ignore the relentless scrutiny. But the moment lingered in his mind, X's innocent yet cutting observation. "But you say whatever you want on Twitter." That thought followed him home. When he walked through the door that evening, X was sitting on the floor watching a YouTube clip, one of the many videos analyzing his outburst. The boy turned to his father, wide-eyed. "Daddy, am I in trouble?" Musk hesitated, kneeling beside him. "Why do you think that? Everyone's talking about me, even on Mommy's phone." Musk sighed, realizing the depth of the situation. X was only 4, but he was already experiencing the weight of being a public figure. He wasn't just a child, he was Elon Musk's child, and in this digital world that meant something entirely different. "You're not in trouble," Musk said carefully, "but people are paying attention to what you say, and when that happens, we have to be careful with our words." X frowned. "But you don't." The honesty stung. For years, Musk had built a persona around speaking freely, unfiltered. He challenged norms, defied authority, and dismissed criticism. But looking at his son now, he realized that freedom without responsibility wasn't the lesson he wanted to pass down. That night, Musk found himself scrolling through his old tweets, reading them with fresh eyes. The sarcasm, the jabs, the unapologetic defiance, it had all felt harmless before. But now he imagined X growing up believing that power meant never having to apologize. The next morning, Musk made a decision. He called Grimes. "You're right," he admitted. "We need to do better." For the first time, Elon Musk, the billionaire, the visionary, the man who never backed down, was acknowledging that when it came to fatherhood, there were still lessons he needed to learn. The call with Grimes had been brief, but its weight lingered. Musk, a man who had built rockets and revolutionized industries, found himself confronted with a challenge that no algorithm or scientific equation could solve, shaping the character of his own son. That evening, he sat across from X at the dinner table, something that rarely happened with his packed schedule. The boy was playing with his food, humming a tune, blissfully unaware of the storm his words had created in the outside world. "X," Musk began, keeping his tone gentle, "do you know why people are talking about what you said to Mr. Trump?" The boy shrugged, barely looking up from his mashed potatoes. "'Cause I told him to go away." Musk nodded. "Yes. But do you know why that might not have been the best thing to say?" X wrinkled his nose in thought. "He was being loud, and kinda mean. You always say people shouldn't be mean." Musk paused. His son had made a fair point, but there was a difference between calling out injustice and being disrespectful, and that was the line X hadn't yet learned. "You're right," Musk admitted. "People shouldn't be mean, but when we don't like what someone is saying, we have to be smart about how we respond." X tilted his head. "Like make a joke?" Musk smirked despite himself. "Sometimes, but more importantly, we have to be respectful. Words have power, buddy. What you say, how you say it, people listen. And if we're not careful, we can hurt others, even when we don't mean to." X poked at his food with a fork, considering his father's words. Then, after a moment, he asked, "Did I hurt Mr. Trump?" Musk hesitated. "I think you surprised him, and maybe embarrassed him." The boy's small shoulders hunched slightly. "I didn't mean to." Musk reached across the table and ruffled his son's hair. "I know, but that's why we have to think before we speak." For the first time since the incident, Musk felt like he was doing something right. Not as a CEO, not as a billionaire, but as a father. That night, after X had fallen asleep, Musk stared at his phone for a long time before finally typing out a tweet. "Words are powerful. Teaching my son that lesson today, learning it myself too." The response was instant. Some mocked him, others applauded. But for once, Musk didn't care about the reactions. This wasn't about the internet. This was about being the father his son needed him to be. Days passed, but the lesson lingered. Musk found himself paying more attention, not just to what X said, but to what he was teaching by example. His son was watching, absorbing, learning. Every tweet, every interview, every offhand remark, X was picking up on all of it. And the truth was, Musk wasn't proud of everything his son had seen. One evening, after another long day at SpaceX, Musk returned home to find X sitting cross-legged on the living room floor, an iPad propped against his knees. The child was watching something intensely, his brows furrowed in concentration. Curious, Musk sat beside him. On the screen was a montage of Musk's most controversial moments, clips of him interrupting interviewers, mocking critics on Twitter, calling people idiots in board meetings. The video had dramatic music, bold red text, and a clear message. Elon Musk doesn't care what anyone thinks. X turned to his father, eyes wide. "Daddy, are you a superhero or a bad guy?" The question made Musk's stomach drop. "What do you mean?" X pointed at the screen. "Sometimes you sound really smart, but sometimes you say mean things, and people on the internet fight about it." Musk exhaled, running a hand through his hair. He had spent years crafting a persona, unapologetic, sharp, always ready to fire back. It had worked for business. It had worked for engagement. But was it working for fatherhood? "X," he said carefully, "what do you think makes a person good or bad?" X thought for a moment. "If they help people, they're good." Musk smiled. "Then I hope I'm one of the good ones." X frowned. "But helping people means being nice too, right?" Musk swallowed hard. This was the part no one had ever challenged him on. Not shareholders, not reporters, not even his critics. He had always measured his success in impact, in innovation. But what about kindness? What about respect? X kept watching the video, and Musk did something he never thought he would do. He took the iPad and turned it off. "Come on," he said, standing up. "Let's go outside." X perked up. "Where?" "You'll see." They stepped into the cool evening air, the sky a mix of deep blues and fading golds. Musk led his son to the backyard, where the stars were beginning to appear, tiny lights in the vast unknown, a reminder of how small they were in the grand scheme of things. "When I was a kid," Musk said, "I wanted to change the world. I thought the best way to do that was to be the smartest person in the room, to win every argument, to prove everyone wrong." X listened, his small hands gripping the edge of his hoodie. "But now," Musk continued, "I think being good matters more than being right." X tilted his head. "So, you're going to be nicer now?" Musk chuckled. "I think I'm going to try." For the first time in a long while, he felt something shift inside him. This wasn't about PR. It wasn't about winning. It was about breaking the cycle, about showing his son that power wasn't just about intelligence or success. It was about character. As X stared up at the stars, his father beside him, something unspoken passed between them, a lesson Musk had never intended to teach, but one he was learning himself, and for the first time, Elon Musk wondered if his greatest legacy wouldn't be Tesla or SpaceX, but the man his son would become. Weeks passed, and the world found new controversies to obsess over. The incident with X slowly faded from headlines, replaced by the next scandal, the next viral moment. But within Musk's home, the lesson had not been forgotten. For the first time in years, Musk re-evaluated the way he communicated, not just in public, but in private. He started pausing before responding, choosing his words with more care. He found himself deleting tweets he once would have posted without a second thought. He wasn't changing who he was learning who he wanted to be. One evening, after another long day of work, he found X in his room, sprawled on the floor with a book. Musk smiled at the sight, his son absorbed in something other than a screen. "What are you reading?" Musk asked, sitting beside him. X lifted the book. "It's about a king," he said. "He's really strong, but nobody likes him." Musk raised an eyebrow. "Why not?" X hesitated. "Because he talks mean. He says whatever he wants and people get mad." Musk leaned back against the wall, recognizing the familiar sting of realization. "And what happens to the king?" X turned the page, tracing the words with his finger. "He thinks being the strongest means he doesn't have to listen to anyone, but then he gets really lonely." Musk exhaled slowly. "And does he change?" X nodded. "Yeah. He learns that being strong is also about helping people feel good, not just being the loudest." Musk couldn't help but smile. The story was simple, but its message was profound. "That's a good lesson," Musk said softly. X looked up at him. "Are you a king, Daddy?" Musk chuckled. "Nobody, just a guy trying to do the right thing." X considered this. "But lots of people listen to you." Musk nodded. "Yeah, and that means I have to be careful with what I say." X's small fingers traced the cover of the book. "I think I have to be careful too." Musk's heart swelled with something he couldn't quite name. Pride, maybe, or relief. His son had made a mistake, yes, but hadn't they all? What mattered was what came next. He reached over and ruffled X's hair. "You're going to be just fine, kid." That night, as Musk lay in bed staring at the ceiling, he realized something. For years he had been obsessed with the idea of legacy. What would he leave behind? Would it be Mars, Tesla, Neuralink? But now he saw it differently. His greatest legacy wouldn't be found in factories or rocket launches. It wouldn't be in headlines or stock prices. It would be in the small moments, in the lessons passed down, in the son who would grow up knowing that words, respect and humility mattered just as much as intelligence and ambition. And for the first time in a long time, Elon Musk felt like he was truly building something that would last, something worth leaving behind.